Good afternoon, Year 7. Welcome back to another lesson on identity poetry. Before we get into the poem, I'd like you to do now, which is list activities you have done and have wanted to do during school breaks, such as half term. Our learning objective today is to read and analyse MidTerm Break by Seamus Heaney. So the title that goes into your book is MidTerm Break by Seamus Heaney. Here are the things you're going to need today: a pen, your exercise book, and as ever, if you're getting towards the end, let me know and I'll get one sent to you. Some colour pens and pencils, and a copy of the poem, which will be attached to Classcharts. And don't forget to pause the audio as you're going along. You don't have to. Your pace doesn't have to be dictated by the speed of the recording. You can stop it, obviously, as I'm sure you have been at any point. Here's the list of things that you might want to do during half term: going on holiday or abroad, meeting friends, going for lunch, going to the cinema, spending time with family on outings, going to a farm. Now those are the sorts of things that you might like to do during a mid-term break or half term. But I have to say this poem's actually a very sad one. Seamus Heaney, the poet, was 14 years old when his younger brother was hit and killed by a car. And that's what this poem is about. I'm telling you that now because if anyone's likely to be upset by this, if you've had a bereavement in your family, or if you find the subject matter upsetting for whatever reason, you don't have to do the lesson. You can simply read for an hour. But there we are. Now on to the poem. Here's some information about Seamus Heaney, which was the sort of inspiration behind this poem. When he was 14, his 4-year-old brother Christopher was killed in a road accident, an event which he later would write about in 2 poems. The first was called Midterm Break, which is one we're looking at today. What do you think the tone of the poem is going to be like? What did Heaney do during his holiday? How do you feel comparing your answers you had to this? And here's some quick answers that I've done. Just have a quick look at those and make sure that they're a little bit like yours, and we'll get on to reading the poem. Now I'm going to read it over the next slide, and I want you to answer the following question. What happens in the poem? Try to summarise each stanza with one line of explanation. What is the tone of the poem? Now you can scroll through the slides, or watch it on the video, or read it on the PDF, and underneath you've got a very basic explanation as to what's actually happened in this poem, because it's not immediately obvious, so I shall go through slowly for you. I'm not going to read it, I'm just going to click through. You're now going to focus on how each person responds to the death of their family member: the mother, the father, and Seamus Heaney himself. Use 3 different colours to highlight the evidence in the text for each one. So number 1, focus on the presentation of Heaney's father. What kind of man is he? How does he react? What do you know about him? Focus on the presentation of Heaney's mother. What kind of woman is she? How does she react? What are we told about her? And then lastly, how does Heaney react? What do we learn about him? Look at the fact it is written in the first person. What different emotions does he experience? So I want you to find evidence that answers each of those questions. Highlight it in one of 3 different colours, and then write a short paragraph answering those questions. That's 15 minutes there. And here are 3 that I've done. I won't read them all out. You can stop the presentation or the video there and read them. Hopefully they're something like the ones that you've got. And now we're going to be analysing a stanza of our choice. So choose a stanza from the poem. Pick out language and structure techniques and explain the effect. Pick out a word that is significant and explain its significance. That should say word there. Here's an example done for you. Make sure you choose a different stanza. So here's the first one. Could be metaphorical. I sat all morning in the college sick bay, counting bells, knelling classes to a close. At 2 o'clock our neighbours drove me home. So it could be metaphorical. The bells could be the bells of death regarding the news he has just had. Makes the poem particularly emotional and sombre. Makes the reader question who it could be. Who's died, that is. Neighbours is a significant word to me as it highlights the depth of his loss and feelings of isolation. It is not a family member collecting him, but a neighbour. And that, you know, if you're sitting there in distress and you either know or think that your little brother might be dead and you're picked up by a neighbour, that's going to make you feel even more isolated, isn't it? Because you can't show how it is you're feeling. So there we are. I want you to analyse a stanza in that way, and that's a piece of work that I'd like you to upload to Classcharts, please, Year 7.